Hey guys, Paradoxio here. Welcome back to a brand new video, everyone. This is part 12 of our Building a Discord Bot in Python Series 2024 edition. And in this video, we are going to be setting up a very simple mute role system for our Discord bot. Now, we're going to be doing this in two different ways. One, just by putting our role ID in our code, and then just hard coding it to give the member we want to mute that role. And then we're going to use a JSON file so that way we can store multiple role IDs. Now, this isn't ideal, especially if you have a very large bot. We would want to use something like a database to store all of those mute role IDs. But if we were just working with a simple Discord bot that's only going to be in 1 to 10 servers at most, maybe, then this is completely okay. Anyway, before we get started coding, let's head to Discord real quick, and let's head to our server settings and head over to roles. Now, off camera, I've already made a muted role, but once you make one, we need to navigate to permissions. And the reason why we want to do this is because under permissions, we want to make sure that the send messages permission is disabled. We also want to make sure that the connect permission is also disabled. Now, you can have connect enabled but speak disabled if you would like muted members to be able to join voice channels but not talk. But if you'd rather them just not be able to join, period, then you can just turn connect off. After that, we may go ahead and exit that menu. And then for an added layer of security, let's head over to our text channels. Right-click on the channel, click Edit Channel, go to Permissions, and then add your muted role if you haven't already. And under muted role, make sure that send messages is turned off. Just a pro tip, if you have a lot of channels, you can just right click on the category and then Discord can sync that permission through all the channels under that category. Same thing for voice channels. Right click on the voice channel or the voice category, click Edit Channel, go to Permissions, go to Muted, and then make sure they cannot connect, speak, use video, soundboard, or anything. Now, if they cannot connect, then they already can't do any of these things, but you can select them all if you would like. And then, since Discord has a built-in feature with voice channels that you can turn on the text on the side, you want to also make sure they can't send messages in the text chat for the voice channel as well. Now, it's going to give you a warning telling you that they recommend keeping the permission enabled, but that's obviously not meant for a muted role, so we can just ignore this message here. Go ahead and exit out of that menu. And now what we need to do is we need to actually go back to server settings, go to roles, and then where our muted role is, click on the 3 dots, and then right click and then click role ID or copy role ID. Another thing is we want to make sure the muted role is above the default member role if we have one. If we don't have a member role, then keep this above the @everyone, which by default it already is anyway. If you have several roles that you give out for fun, or if they're level roles, then make sure you keep that above the level roles as well. But for now, I'm just going to keep it above member. So that's all we really need to do. But what if you don't see this option to copy role ID? Well, then what you need to do is you need to go to your user settings, go to advanced, and then make sure developer mode is switched on. And that will allow you to come to your server settings, go to roles, and then copy the role ID that you need. This also allows you to copy other things like user ID, server ID, message ID, etc. Basically, that just gives us the tool to copy IDs for a lot of different things for whenever we use Discord's API. So, after that, so we can come back here now. And if you want to make a comment and just make a note of that role ID, you can. But I'm going to keep it in my clipboard for now. But for now, let's go ahead and make the command. So at bots.tree.command, we're going to give it a name and we're going to call it mute. And in description, we're going to say mute user. And then we're going to call the actual function mute. And in here, we're going to pass an interaction. And discord.interaction with a capital I. And then we're going to pass in member, discord.member with a capital M. And then if you want to provide a reason, you can, just in case you want to implement this into your logging channel that we learned how to set up last discord.py episode. All we have to do is we just have to get the channel ID for our logging channel and then send the reason in there as a message. You can do that if you would like. I'm not, because it's not really important to this video, but it's something you can think about later on. But after that, we need to go ahead and fetch our role. So we could type in muted role is equal to Discord, or I'm sorry, interaction dot guild dot get role. And then in here we paste in that's role ID for our muted role. After that, all we need to do is type in await member.add roles muted role. Then we need to send a message confirming that we have muted them, which tab 9 automatically filled for me. Await interaction.response.send messages. And that's it. This mute role is completely done. Now, to make an unmute role command, we can just copy and paste that, change the names, and then change the function name as well. The main difference in the logic of this function is instead of add roles, we're going to use the remove roles function. And that's it. So we have a mute and unmute command. Let's go ahead and test them out. All right, so our commands are synced. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to shut off Discord and open it up again, because typically whenever we're working with application commands, we need to make sure that our Discord is refreshed so that way we can actually see them. So now what I can do is I can type in slash, and look at that, we have mute and unmute. So let's test it on our buddy Me6 here. As you can see, they have no roles other than the default bot role that they get when they join. So let's go ahead and type in Me6. And it says Me6 has been muted. And look at that. We have our muted role. Now, as long as you have set up your mute role correctly with the permissions that are needed, and as long as your bot has the permissions to add or remove roles, your user will now be muted. So, if they are still able to type, then the only problem that there is that you may have not done the correct permissions, and you may need to go back in there and make sure that you have had the roles set to where they cannot send messages. So, assuming you did that correctly, this muted role is 100% functional. Sorry guys, I can't speak, but let's try the unmute role now. So, Me6 is still muted. Let's try this command out. Alright, and it removed the mute role, so that works. I just needed to change the message, but I forgot to. let's do that right here. There we go. Now, this only works if your Discord bot is only in that server. If you try to run this command in a different server, then what's going to happen is you will get an error saying that the role was not found. Well, that's because this role here only exists within this single server or guild. How can we make it to where the bot knows exactly which server you're in and what mute role you were referring to? Well, we could use a JSON file to store those role IDs. So what I can go ahead and do is I can remove this for now. I'm actually going to change this to none. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here, add a new file, and call it guilds.json. And then inside this JSON file, I'm just going to set up a case of curly braces here, or a set of curly braces, and don't do anything with them just yet. Then I'm going to close this out. And up here, I am going to set up two events for on guild join, on guild leave. So at bot.event, sync death on guild join. What we are going to do is we're going to pass in the guild. And then we are going to type in with open guilds.json, and we're going to open it in R or reading mode. And we're going to label the file as F. Then what we are going to do is we're going to type in guilds is equal to json.loadf. And another thing is I actually need to import JSON in here. So import JSON. There we go. I forgot to mention that. Sorry about that, guys. But now we have guilds is equal to json.loadf. So what we need to do now is we need to type in guilds.update. And in here is going to be our new data that we want to add to that JSON file. So what we'll do is we'll type in string guild.id, and then in here will be another dictionary, which will hold our muted role. And that's basically it. Now we just need to go ahead and add it to our JSON file by opening the file in write mode now. And then we can go ahead and dump this data into that file. Now, that's pretty much it. But I don't want to go through the hassle of adding that bot again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go to Discord, get the guild ID by right-clicking on the server icon, and then just adding it manually. So mute role, and I'm going to set this to null for now. Now, whenever our bot leaves a server, then we want to remove them from the JSON file. Now, this is optional, but this is typically what I do, just to clean up and save space. Now, tab 9 basically autofilled and did this for me, but pretty much we open the file again and we just pop that piece of data, which is this here, from the JSON file. Because basically, whenever we join a new server, then we're going to have that, and then the roll just like that. Pretty simple. But we have that set up properly now. Now all we need to do is we need to come here, And we need to type in with open guilds.json, r as f, guilds is equal to json.loadf, or actually, we're going to type in mute or data, and then mute role is equal to data, and in here is going to be the string of interaction.guild.id, and in here, after that, we are going to type in mute role. Then we need to write a check or an if statement checking if we have a mute role set up. Now, by default, it is null, which is the same thing as none in Python. So we can type in if mute role is none. Then we are going to type in await interaction.response.sendMessage, mute role not found, and then we're going to return, so that way we exit this command or function. After that, down here, we can just append or add the role to the user. So that's really all we need to do. Now, we could also add another check if we would like. And what we can do is we can type in, or actually, let me come out of here real quick. We can type in if mute role in member.roles, which, by the way, this is a list of all the roles that the member has. Then we want to basically tell the person trying to mute them that the user is already muted. And then we want to return out of that function again. After that, we can now come down here and configure our unmute role. Now I'm actually going to copy and paste this. So, if the mute role is none, then mute role is not found. If mute role in member.roles, we need to change this to if mute role not in member.roles, then user is not muted. Return. And then let's change this from muted to mute role. And then just removes it, and then it states that they're unmuted. And that's really it. But we need a command to actually set our mute role. What we can do is we can type in @bot.tree.command. Name is equal to set, or set mute role. Sets the mute or muted role for your server. And in here, we're going to open up our JSON file with open guilds.json. And actually, I forgot something. I need to add an interaction. There we go. All right, so we define data. Then we type in data at the guild ID. Muted role set equal to role.id. .id, sorry. And then all we need to do is we can just type in with open guilds.json in write mode. And then we can dump that data into there. That's pretty simple. So now let's go ahead and Run our code real quick and see if it works. Alright, so we synced 4 commands, so that's a good sign. We can come back here, type in mute me6. Mute role not found. Alright, so our check is working. So what we need to do is we need to type in set mute role, and actually, that is my bad. I completely forgot to reload Discord. Set mute role, and then muted. And we ran into a problem. Let's see what's wrong. Okay, I forgot to actually close out the interaction by sending a message. Apologize about that, guys. All right. There we go. Our mute role has been set. And if we go back here and look in our JSON file, our mute role is now set right here to this number, which is the role we have just selected, which was muted. Now, if I go ahead and mute me6, and we have ran into another problem. Let's see what happened. All right, mute has raised an exception. Int object has no attributes ID. All right, let's see what we did wrong, guys. Line 75 and mute. So that is this line right here. Or is it? Yeah, and mute. Alright, give me 1 second, guys. I will go ahead and figure out how to fix this. Okay, guys, so a slight oversight on my end, I apologize. But I actually forgot to fetch the role. So, I want to use Control X on this piece of code here to cut, so that way we can paste it later. And then what we're going to replace that part with is interaction.guild.get role. And then we can paste that same line back in there. Then I'm going to copy and paste this and put it here. So that is my fault. I just forgot to actually include that crucial line, so that way our mute command will actually work. So let's go ahead and try this now. Perfect. Now, let's try to mute me6. And look at that, me6 is now muted. Perfect. Alright, well, I just removed the mute role automatically, so I'm actually going to mute him again. Then I'm going to unmute him. And it removed the role. But I want to try and unmute me6 even though he's not muted. And it says user is not muted, so perfect. Our if conditionals that we have down here, our checks are working as they should. And we have ourselves a pretty simple mute and unmute system set up. And we also have it set up in a way where we can have multiple servers that have a mute role. If you guys have enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments on what you would like to see next time. I do plan to actually upload a video for discord.py on how we can set up a database to hold things like a mute role and a join role and all kinds of stuff. Mainly just managing server based information in a database. That video will come out in the future. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, simple code, We set up a simple mute and unmute command, and we also set up a set mute role command, so that way we can actually set our mute role, assuming that our bot had just joined the server. But that is it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to join my Discord server and create yourself a free account on my official website at houseofcode.xyz, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye, guys.